I got green ice, it's called.
I like a very generic name.
Green ice, yeah. Hi, friends. Host Eric here. I was talking with Ashley while I'm here with my beloved Rachel.
Hi.
You may remember her from such relationships as the one that I'm in.
Yep.
And I just got back from the weed store. That's right.
Yes, you did.
And I just wanted to share a little bit of good news with you. Bong rips are like rainbows. They're God's way of promising he's not going to flood us again.
Yeah.
If you're worried that God might flood the world again, causing another ark situation, don't worry. Bong rips are like rainbows. They're God's promise that he won't flood the world again.
I didn't know that.
Little known biblical fact. Yeah.
Yeah, I really didn't. We saw a rainbow together. Remember that one time after like a sun shower over the mountains?
We've seen several rainbows here. We saw a couple in Hawaii.
Yeah, that was so pretty.
Hawaiian rainbows.
It looked like the license plate. Which is what's in the rainbow.
It looked like a vanity license plate that spelled out the word rainbow.
Rainbow Bright was my favorite cartoon growing up.
Who didn't love a little Rainbow Bright? I didn't, but I'm sure girls liked it. That was definitely her girl cartoon, Rainbow Bright.
Yeah, there was a boy in it who was her boyfriend, but that was just to please the audience. It wasn't because they were targeting men or boys.
You're my boyfriend. Like that.
Yeah, they did have two other boys in it, but no. Rainbow Bright was definitely geared towards girls. They sold a lot. That was in your 80s, especially late 80s, was the era of toys. There were G.I. Joes and stuff that were advancing. There was video games that were enhancing things. There were a bunch of different kind of dolls that did stuff.
Right.
I felt I got a lot of toys when I was a kid. And it wasn't just okay, if you're a boy, you're going to get a change set, and if you're a girl, you're going to get clothes. The 80s kind of boomed in marketing of comic and cartoon stuff. Also, your mom rocked mom jeans, and damn, did she look good.
I tell you what else my mom rocked in the 80s. Some shizzled or pizzazz. She had some big old square shoulders. Oh, yeah.
That's because she's taken seriously.
I remember her having square shoulders in the 80s. Yes, Winston's mom. Today we're celebrating the good news, a little known biblical fact. God didn't just create rainbows to promise he wasn't going to flood us again. He also created bong rips for that reason.
Yeah. I'm just a little slow to them.
You're a little slow to the bong rip? Oh, he didn't actually smoke. He invented weed. Smoking weed. For me, it's bong rips, but for you, it could be pipe hits or whatever,
Actually, I get edibles. I like it all. I'm just a weed person.
Yes, you are. Like me, I'm also a weed person. Now, you'll note YouTube is not very enthusiastic about my bong-titled live streams.
No.
They really don't want this kind of stuff.
Which really kind of sucks because it's extremely, entertaining.
It couldn't be any more innocent either. That's the thing. Smoking weed is very innocent compared to anything else you might do that would be considered a vice.
And if they really wanted to use their metric system, they would also try to see the age range that's watching your live streams. Hello, every survey always does that. Are you within the range of blah, blah, blah?
No, they do that. They do. They've got, in some of my videos, this one will be age restricted because it says bong in the title. But the important thing is that I share the good news. Because I know a lot of my viewers out there have been worried about a giant flood coming. I was supposed to work right now, but it got postponed. So I'm not working right now as a consequence. One thing that's interesting, there's definitely somebody who's botted me in some sense. Like a bot comes and watches.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know if it says something about YouTube that does better or not. Probably not. YouTube's pretty smart, pretty clever. Yeah. What up, Dad?
This is yours. I'll put it out here.
Okay, thank
Otherwise
you.
it doesn't get used, it just sits in there.
All right, cool. Thanks, Dad.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
I'm assuming 6 or shortly thereafter is what we're doing.
Yeah, that'd be fine. Huh?
I know your dad mentioned about dinner was, but I forgot.
Crock pot. We're having crock pot for dinner tonight.
ESTJs up to crock pots too. So do ESFJs. Those are good gifts.
Well, I mean, you put your food in the crock pot in the morning, you let it cook all day. You got a slow cooked, delicious meal come nighttime. I bet you it's going to be fantastic.
It is going to be fantastic. I'm just saying that whole convenience, those phrases that you said are actually what ESTJs say about crock pots.
Mm-hmm.
They really do. That's great. I'm happy. Just put some stuff in, has marinade, so good.
A more important question, Mrs. Mom, is why they flip the 5, 6, 7, 8 functions. Not so much how, but why. It's a curious question as well. I don't understand why socionics has these blocks, like ego block, super ego block, id block. Why are they trying to shove Freud in there, It's like, where did Freud come from? Why is he in there all of a sudden? Why? I mean, that's ultimately the question. Why? There's no answer. They just arbitrarily did it. Boy, you want to make an ENTP angry, you better do things for no reason and have no explanation as to why you did them, and you're sure to have trouble with me because I don't like that. You better explain yourself, Mr. or Missy. I've been fairly accurately described as representing something equivalent to BB's stack. BB's stack. BB is like Jung's stack more or less, but he was the guy who kind of pioneered the idea of, or at least one of the guys who talked about the shadow functions, the backside functions, doing specific things and having a specific relationship sort of mechanically to the front slot functions. I don't know if he beat socionics to doing that, but he did it entirely in metaphor, which is fine. And at least he's not trying to do anything but that. So I'm down with BB, I'm down with BB. If BB were running for president, that would be his campaign slogan. Anyway, today we're pulling bong rips for Jesus and celebrating the good news if you're down with me, then you're down with Pete. Are you down with Linda Behrens or Catherine Favre? Catherine Favre. Catherine Favre. Are you down with Linda Behrens or Catherine Favre? Or perhaps you're down with BB? Are you down with Linda Behrens or Catherine Favre? Catherine Favre. Catherine Favre. Are you down with Linda Behrens or Catherine Favre? Or perhaps you're down with BB? Oh, that Jung. He's so crazy. He's such a fun guy. One day, Jung and I were playing patty cake here at the house. And he's like, "Oh, Eric, you're such an ENTP." And I'm like, "Yeah, I know, Jung. You're so crazy." It was fun. We laughed. You would have laughed, too. So that's the kind of fun we have together, me and you. Carl, I call him. Carlio. What do you think of Carl Friston's free energy principle of brains? If that's the thing I'm talking about, then I think it's more or less correct. It comprises a prime directive. Yeah, exactly. There. Thank you. There. That's it. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Thank you, Fossology. That's what I'm talking about. That's the prime directive. It can be basically expressed in human terms that don't involve free energy and math and shit as narrowing the distance between map and territory. Okay, so there you go. That's where I got that concept from. Thank you, Fossology. As I've said many times, I got it from some fancy genius guy, right? That's the guy I'm talking about. Good job, Fossology. This is like the time when I figured out the song I was trying to figure out was Boogie by Brockhampton. It's a satisfying moment.
See you in the nap.
You go take your little nappy poo, darling.
Okay.
You're not gonna be up for dinner then, right?
I'm probably not, no.
All right, cool. No problem. Well, Carl Friston's free energy principle says that all life at every scale of organization, from single cells to the human brain with billions of neurons, is driven by the same universal imperative which can be reduced to a mathematical function. And so what's interesting is it fit in perfectly to no, my dad suggested to us being unpredictable in that fashion. He'll want to nail down a certain thing. Like he knows I'm going to be eating dinner with him tonight at least, so that's fine. She had a rough night last night. She tried to go to sleep at like 10 p.m. She was still up at like 3 in the morning. Then she took another Clonny and she crashed out till like 3 in the afternoon. Then she's been up for a couple hours. She took a couple more trazodone and went back to bed. So that's fine. If Rachel needs to drug herself like this periodically to make herself feel sane, no problem. I have no problem with that. She can rest all she wants to rest. So she tried reading. Has you tried interpretive jazz dance? That always helps me sleep. I mean, Rachel's got to manage herself more than I do, for sure, right? Like, managing myself involves remembering to eat periodically, not letting myself get too starving, not letting myself reading a book. Her brain clock is no such thing, Rachel. Okay, just forget about it. Just forget about every modality or technique other than heavy tranquilizers for putting Rachel to sleep. Okay, her insomnia stomps on your solutions on the way out the door after eating breakfast. It's beyond anything anybody can imagine, frankly. It's quite ridiculous. Noise is not the problem. But yeah, I mean, she's in the master bedroom. It's quiet in there. You know, it's not like a loud house. This has never been a loud home. My childhood was very quiet. Um, for long stretches of my childhood, the TV was very rarely even on. It was like my parents would each be reading their books in their chairs, and I was expected to be reading my book or playing quietly or something. You know, so that's how this house is. It can't be any more conducive to somebody being restful and sleeping, frankly. The only way it could be is if Rachel had complete ownership over the whole environment. And I think in those contexts, when her FE tool functions isn't interfering at all, it helps. But she's growing more and more comfortable with the reality that I am not trying to tell her how to be. You know, she's never been in a relationship where the other person doesn't try to tell her how to be or how to solve these problems. She's never been in a relationship where someone doesn't go to her, have you tried reading? Have you tried melatonin? The thing I've suggested to her, and I don't really suggest much. I ask her questions. But what I've suggested is, I think she should go on a schedule like this. She should alternate going to bed at night and in the morning. So basically, let's say she goes to bed at night and gets a full night's sleep. She wakes up in the morning, let's say 10 a.m. Then she doesn't go to bed until early morning the next morning, like 4 or 5 a.m. the next morning. She stays up until then. Then she sleeps until nighttime during the daytime, you know? And again, repeats. Then she doesn't go to bed until the next night. So I think she'd be better off if she slept like that. Slept like 14 hours or something every other night. I think she should try something like that. But this current, like, 8 and 16 thing that everybody suggests is ideal doesn't work for her. It just doesn't work. It doesn't work for me either. It doesn't work for shit. It's like I'm up and down all hours of the day. I slept from meow to meow. I was up in the middle of the night, live streaming. Then I went back to sleep. Then I got up and live streamed again. Then I went back to sleep. That's how it is around here. You know, it's like it's very conducive to doing whatever you want whenever you want. So there's no environmental things that can be changed to facilitate this. She needs to just deal with it as she's dealing with it, which is she'll adjust her meds. She's talking to the psychiatrist. You know. But she also got a headache, she says, and she's congested. I don't think she's feeling especially well right now. So she got a lot of sun yesterday, more than we expected, I think. It's a weird function, and it's like, for example, when we're fishing, it happened again yesterday. Rich goes, "Why don't we? I want to go fish on the dock," and I go, "No, this spot's good. This spot's fine." And then like 5 minutes later, I go, "You're right. We should go fish on the dock. Why are we fishing from here?" I just have to listen to her. But it takes me a second for me to stop ignoring NI, you know? Happened the day before, too, when we were having all kinds of problems. This is a bad spot, she said, because we were too near the bushes and shit. Straightforward NI. We should move. This is a bad spot. I ignored her. I don't want to give up on the spot yet. I'm persistent. She's INFJ, so she's like, okay, well, I feel you. Then 5 minutes later, okay, you're right, we should move. Why am I ignoring this NI again? She's very helpful to me in that regard. She's very complimentary to my native stack. Well, there are moments when Rachel and I are at odds with our NE and our NI, or our SI and our NI, I guess, which is specifically about our relationship. Rachel will often voice what are no doubt powerful NI truths in some contexts, like, "Hey, Eric, maybe I'm too much trouble for you. I don't want to be the kind of girlfriend who causes you a lot of problems and is the burden, and you're just with me because you feel sorry for me, and blah, 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 blah." It's like, I mean, I tend to agree with you, IAG last. I would say that she has TI that's more consistent with fourth slot, and SI physical that's more consistent with seventh slot. And she's a bit of a test wrecker in that regard, because she's definitely an introvert. She's not an extrovert. And she's definitely FE tool, not FE dom. And her metaphysical SI is definitely not seventh slot. So in other words, when you ask her the memory kind of questions about her personal experiences and so forth, it's very eighth slot. It's textbook eighth slot. But when you look to the physical field, the actual sleeping, eating thing, it's much more like, especially with sleeping anyway, it's much more like seventh slot. No, Winston's mom, that's not true. I mean, here's the thing. It has been true in the past, but what I'm saying right now about these NI meanings, and I tell her, is she needs to remember I'm not knowing via NI. Okay, so if I were knowing via NI as well, these truths that she's pointing out would ultimately be, they're not subjective. They're just not reducible. Winston's mom. Universality is distinct from either objectivity or subjectivity. It's best to think of there being four corners to the thing: universal, particularist, and objective and subjective. Why are there only two people here? Must be the title, you know. YouTube really doesn't like you talking about weed, I guess. So it's not true that NE connects the dots and NI fills in the blanks. Look, it's much more the case that NI is positive space and NE is negative space. So if you tell me this is a bad spot, I think, this could be an excellent spot if I tweak my approach to it in some way. You see, it's negative space. It's not positive space. NI is positive space. So the thing is, okay, well, what I'm saying is NI is universalist and SI is particularist. TI is objective. FI is subjective. We think about objective and subjective representing two ends of a spectrum, but it's definitely the case that that understanding of that spectrum is inadequate in a couple of different ways. First of all, the objective subjective distinction should be object, subject, agent. So, in other words, it's three-dimensional, not two-dimensional. And the other one is if you're going to talk about it in terms of spectrums, you have to contrast it against the particularist universalist spectrum, or you'd have to include that. It's kind of like the political spectrum as being liberal, conservative, authoritarian, libertarian. Those being four things on the spectrum. So what I'm saying is that to say that NI is subjective is wrong. It is universalist and it is irreducible, but it is not subjective. It is not of the subject, it's of the external world. It's what's universally true. Does that make sense? When you're making predictions about the external world and what's going to happen, Winston's mom, you're saying those are subjective. Well, they're of the subject, that is to say, you're producing those predictions, but they're about an object versus of the subject about the subject, which would be basically agential. Okay? Now, if it is expressed externally, though, it's still subjective. If it's not expressed externally, then it's agential or of the agent. It's a necessary distinction to make. My brain is positive space. Okay, my brain's positive space. What does that have to do with it? Your brain's baby spice. That doesn't mean you have to be ashamed of yourself all the time. I don't have to be ashamed of myself either, okay? Just because I'm a positive guy, full of enthusiasm and zeal and rainbows, doesn't mean I need to feel constant shame. I can feel inconstant shame instead. Why is Earth superior? All logo for road. I mean, look at me. My first wife that I married, I actively disliked her before we got married and still married her on the grounds that she seemed to have childbearing hips and I wanted to have a child born for me. And I didn't think it really mattered which spouse I got as long as we both respected our roles. To a certain extent, I still feel that way. Pretential? I don't know what pretential is. Are you saying agential? I'm saying agential, of the agent. In other words, that you are an agent, which means you have the capacity to act both as a subject and be an object to things. You can experience things that being done to you and you can take action. I'm just playing with words, emailed anthrax, that's all. I used to feel a lot of shame and anxiety. You know, no, it's me not getting the concept that you're supposed to spend your life with somebody you like, not somebody you think is unpleasant. What type tries to be something it's not? I mean, ENTPs do that without knowing they're doing it. Exactly. Or they don't really think the distinction matters, whether you know what you're talking about or not. You learn heuristics about that over time that help prevent that from happening to you. Because, of course, the ENTP is constrained by constrained by FE in the third slot. I'm feeling very karate right now. People change. I have changed over my course of my life. The elements of me that have changed definitionally are not elements of my personality. Because personality is defined as the aspects of a person's being that maintain the same. They're the same over time, over their whole life. Rainbows are waterfalls. Blunts are waterfalls. Bong rips are rainbows and blunts are waterfalls. Okay. In honor of your blunt, I'm going to smoke some more bong rips. So together we form that rainbow that happens at the bottom of the waterfall when the sun is shining on it. Okay, that's what we form together, Jake Hurwitz. I'll pull the bong rips, you be the waterfall, and together we'll make a rainbow. It's gonna be a double rainbow because I just make a rainbow by myself naturally. But now with your waterfall, it's gonna be a double rainbow. I'm so excited. I love rainbows. Rainbows are God's promise not to flood us again. That's what I like about them best. I am guaranteed to not be the victim of a global flood. So, when people worry about the tsunami that's going to take place when a big meteor hits the earth again, wrong. Not going to happen again. Why? Rainbows and bong rips. Those are the two things that God has provided us to promise He will never flood the entire globe again. Nobody's going to have to build another ark. Ark days are over. If you're in the ark building business, bad time for you. Bad time. No need to build any more arks. Thanks to rainbows and bong rips. Oh my God, Jake, do you see the double rainbow? I see it. What about arches? Arches are pipe hits. A complete replica built the size of the ark? Wow, cool. I hope they're aware that they're never going to need to use it. Okay, well, I'm going to pull another rip, and then I'm going to have to wrap this up because it's time for me to... Here comes Dad. Time for me to go. I'm a-coming, Dad!
No, it's me.
Oh. What's going on?
Nothing, what?
You okay?
Yeah, I'm getting candy.
Okay, cool.
Why, what happened?
Oh, I just, nothing happened. I just saw you kind of like, look a little like,
Yeah, I'm tired.
So I checked see if you're doing okay.
I'm sorry, Creed.
No problem. I'm going to pull another bong rip, then I'm going in, and I'm going to eat dinner with Dad. My pineal gland, is that the thing that makes me have to get up and pee during the night? My pineal gland? First of all, when I heard that song, Walk Like an Egyptian, how was I supposed to know it wasn't instructions on stir fry? That's what I interpreted it as. I've been walking like an Egyptian ever since, and that's probably why my stir fries come out so terribly. First, I rubbed the wok with papyrus. I put some sand into the dish. That's how you walk like an Egyptian, obviously. And then I put my meat and vegetables into the wok in the shape of pyramids. I have not had a good stir fry in 30 years. I'm not lying. I love it for it. It means you want to see Murder on the Orient Express, the film. I gotta go eat meat treats with my dad. Deep. So I'll see y'all later.